Hey guys, and welcome on back to another video where today I want to discuss what I think the next great one will be that's coming to Call of the Wild. Now then, I have put a great deal of thought into this suggestion because I wanted to make sure that if I was going to try and suggest what I think the next great one will be, that it was backed up by reason and logic. So I'm going to give you guys the exact process of how I whittled it down to one animal. However, let's go ahead and start by my suggestions for the potential animals which I think it could be. After that, I will go through my process of how I went through one by one and cross them off until I was left with just one animal, which will be my prediction for the next great one. Also, if you do like this video, then please do go ahead and leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now then, the animals that I thought maybe had the potential of making a great one would be the moose. Obviously, that's one that's the moose, the fallow deer, the brown bear, the grizzly bear, but then also things like the Rocky Mountain elk as well. Now then, you've heard my suggestions there, but let's go ahead and start crossing some of these animals off, starting with the fallow deer and also the moose. EW tend to be quite logical about their decisions. They want to add content that keeps the game balanced, which is why I don't think that they would put a great one on a map that currently has one already, especially when there's some reserves out there that don't have any on them at all. Moose can be found on Layton Lakes, just like the whitetail great one, so I don't think that they would go with that. And then fallow deer can also be found on Hirschfelden as well as New Zealand, which is the reason I don't think they would go with a fallow deer, because that is obviously where the red deer great one can be found as well. So that's my reason for crossing those two off my list of potential animals. Now then, with that as well, it also means that we can take out Layton Lake, Hirschfelden, Cuatro Colinas, Parque Fernando, Mississippi, Rancho del Arroyo, as well as New Zealand, as each one of those already has one of the two great ones that are currently available in the game. This just leaves us with Medved, Vurhonga, Yukon Valley, as well as Silver Ridge Peaks, and the animals on those reserves to choose from. And the most likely animals on those reserves that I think could have a shout at being a great one would be the moose, the brown bear, and the Cape buffalo, as well as the grizzly bear, and then finally the Rocky Mountain elk. However, as I mentioned before, the moose is also on Layton Lakes where the whitetails are, so I'm going to cross that one off straight away, which leaves us with just 4 final animals, which are going to be the Rocky Mountain elk, the Cape buffalo, the grizzly bear, and the brown bear. Now then, out of those 4, I thought about the least 2 likely candidates, and the 2 that I decided to take away are going to be the Rocky Mountain elk and also the Cape buffalo, for 2 main reasons though. The first one being that the racks that they have as their max diamond weight is already big. The first one being that the racks that they have as diamonds are already big enough in my opinion, and for them to be made even bigger just to satisfy the requirement of them being a great one wouldn't make sense in the logic of the game. For example, making the Cape buffalo bigger would just make it more comparable to something like a water buffalo diamond, and then making the Rocky Mountain elk's rack even bigger would just make it look unrealistic in my opinion. My other reason for taking those 2 out is that we already have 2 passive great ones in the game currently. The whitetail and the red deer, they aren't a predator species. And while the Cape buffalo may get aggressive when you shoot them, they are not by nature a predator species, which in my honest opinion, I do think the next great one will be to try and include that balance between passive and aggressive great ones. So now that we've taken away the moose, the fallow deer, the Rocky Mountain elk, and also the Cape buffalo, we are left with just 2 potential animals, which is going to be the brown bear and also the grizzly bear. Now then, deciding between a grizzly bear and a brown bear was not an easy option at all. They were very similar when I was comparing them directly, as they are both very similar species in nature. However, as I said, I tried to use as much logic-based thoughts when it came to which one EW would go with, and for that reason, the animal that I thought would be less likely was going to be the brown bear, mostly because, and it mostly comes down to the reserve that the animals can be found on. The brown bears are on Medved, which a lot of players tend not to enjoy due to the night-dominated hunting, and also the map only has 6 species, half of which you can find on other reserves already. Whereas Yukon is a well-loved map, one of the first ones that most people recommend new players to pick up, with the beautiful colors that range across the map, dynamic weather patterns as you transition from night to day, the same moose and caribou species that you can find on Medved also being on that map, and then of course you have to mention the beautiful 300 rifle that does come with that reserve as well, which is capable of shooting class 7 to 9 animals. Once you take this into consideration, it's almost a no-brainer that Yukon would be the preferential map for a great one, which is why I do believe that the next great one that we will find coming to Call of the Wild will be the mighty grizzly bear. Now then, another couple of reasons to back this up is quite simply that it would bring a new style of hunting, okay? Imagine a grizzly bear, okay? It's scarred up, it's huge, and it's especially aggressive out there. It would be the absolute perfect great one for the more daring hunter. The other main differences from the current great ones and this one would obviously be that it's an aggressive species and it doesn't have a rack, meaning that not only would you have to take it on in order to hunt it, but also once you do take it down, it would be based on the size of the animal more so than the rack itself, which obviously we see with the great one red deer having the vines and also the whitetail rack being absolutely huge. It would bring something new and exciting to the game, which I feel that another racked great one, another passive great one, wouldn't be able to bring. So it is for that reason that I feel that the grizzly bear is a valid, well thought out, logical expectation. As always, guys, you are more than welcome to disagree with me on that, and that is absolutely okay. This is just based on the way that I see the game, the logical explanation that I can provide, and I whittled it down from the animals which I felt had the best chance at being a great one down to the final animal for whatever reasons that I could find. I did try and make arguments for the other animals as well. I tried to make arguments for the moose, for the fallow deer, for the Cape buffalo, and also the brown bear. However, the evidence all pointed towards, if you really nail it down, the most likely map, the one that makes sense, the animal that would bring the most to the game, it all points towards the grizzly bear, and it is for that reason that I 100% back my prediction as the grizzly being the next great one in the game. However, as always with my videos, I do always want to go ahead and open that discussion to you guys down in the comments as well, so please feel free to go down there and let me know which animal you actually think will be the next great one. Do you agree with my suggestion? Do you have a different suggestion? Or do you feel that there will not be another great one added to Call of the Wild? Whatever they may be, I would love to hear them, so please do go ahead and leave them down in the comments section below. However, guys, that is all from me for today. I do hope that you have enjoyed, and as I said at the start, if you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the hunt out there. Peace.